My name is Lucinda Moreno. I'm 72 years old, and I've lived my entire life in a quiet suburb just outside Milwaukee, Wisconsin. For most of those years, this house, the one I built with my late husband, Robert, was my pride and joy. Every inch of it told our story. But you learn a lot about people from how they treat you when they think you have nowhere else to go. For 47 years, this dining table had been my heart. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every ordinary Tuesday we sat here. Laughing, fighting, living. Robert used to call it our anchor, but ever since he passed away 3 years ago, that anchor has felt more like an anchor around my neck. Now, my children Ethan, Sarah, and David gather here not out of love, but out of obligation. "Mom, maybe you should sell this house," Ethan said last Thanksgiving, while cutting his turkey. "It's way too big for you now." Sarah giggled. "Yeah, or at least stop keeping all this furniture. It's like a museum in here." Even David, my quiet one, joined in. "Mom, you take up half the space with all your old stuff." They laughed. They thought it was harmless teasing. But that's the thing about mockery when it comes from the people you love. It stings deeper than any insult from a stranger. And that night, sitting at the same table where I once fed them mashed potatoes as toddlers, I realized something cruel. I had become the guest in my own home. I walked through the house that night, touching the edges of the dining table, the framed photos, the scratch on the doorframe where Ethan had marked his height at age 6. This home was not just mine, it was us. Every nail, every chair held a memory, but memories don't pay for kindness. And nostalgia doesn't erase disrespect. I began to notice how each visit from my children ended the same way, with subtle criticism, with pity, with jokes about old people hoarding things. Then one Sunday, when Sarah came over to help organize, she said something that broke something inside me. Mom," she said, flipping through my old photo albums, "you should probably donate these old things before you forget who's in them." I smiled, but something in my chest went cold. That night, I wrote in my journal, "If they ever forget who I am, I'll make sure they remember how I left." I didn't plot revenge overnight. It came slowly, like dust collecting on untouched furniture. Every time they visited, I listened to what they valued, what they dismissed. Sarah wanted the china cabinet. Ethan wanted the house. David wanted the land to sell and invest. They weren't visiting me. They were visiting my things. So I began my quiet plan. I met with a realtor, an old friend of Robert's, discreet and kind. We made arrangements to sell the house off-market, quietly, under my maiden name. I arranged for a small condo near Lake Michigan. Simple, peaceful, mine. And then, I called an antique dealer. I didn't tell them which items I wanted to sell, just that one table and 6 matching chairs needed to be cleaned, restored, and stored away for a special occasion. Thanksgiving came again, the same table, the same laughter, the same subtle insults. Ethan came with his wife, bragging about his promotion. Sarah complained about traffic, then criticized my cooking. David scrolled on his phone between bites. "Mom," Sarah said, half laughing, "maybe next year, we should host at my place. While you still can join." The table erupted in chuckles. I looked at each of them, my children, my pride, my heartbreak, my ungrateful heirs, and smiled. "That's a great idea," I said softly. "Next year, I'll make sure you have plenty of space." They didn't know what I meant. They didn't care. The next morning, before sunrise, movers arrived. The sale had gone through. The house, the one they assumed would be their inheritance, now belonged to a retired couple from Milwaukee who loved the old soul of it. I watched as the movers carried away my dining table, the heart of our family. Every chair but one. That single chair, I kept behind. I polished it, placed it in the middle of the empty dining room, and left a handwritten note taped to the backrest. You always said I took up too much space. Now you have all the space you wanted. Love, Mom. I locked the door behind me and handed the keys to the realtor. 3 days later, my phone exploded with calls. Ethan first. Mom, what the hell did you do? There are strangers in your house. Sarah followed with tears and anger. You sold it? Without telling us. David just texted. You've lost it. I didn't reply. I simply sent them a photo of my new apartment, bright, peaceful, a small dining set with one chair missing. Then I blocked their numbers for a week. They wanted a mother who didn't take up space. Now they had to live with the silence of her absence. Months passed. Sarah eventually reached out softer now. Mom, I didn't realize how much we hurt you, she said. I told her I forgave her, but I didn't invite her over. Forgiveness doesn't mean return. Sometimes revenge isn't about pain, it's about reclaiming peace. That empty chair was never about pettiness. It was a symbol of all the times I sat quietly while being dismissed, of all the space I was told I didn't deserve. Now, every evening, I sit at my new table small, humble, quiet, and smile. Because, for the first time in years, I finally have space that's mine. They said I took up too much space, so I gave them emptiness and took my peace.
Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this, go watch the one on the left and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel for more tales of triumph over injustice and a saga of ultimate revenge.